When the world talks about China's Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, the first images are ports, highways, and railroads. These massive infrastructure projects spanning Asia, Africa, and Europe symbolizes Beijing's effort to physically connect the world under its economic orbit. Yet beneath the steel and the concrete lies a less visible but equally ambitious project, the Digital Silk Road, also known as DSR. Launched in 2015, the DSR represents China's efforts to wire the globe, embedding its technology, digital standards, and cyber governance practices deep inside partner countries. At the core, the initiative is more than internet cables or telecom towers. It is about shaping the future of global connectivity and global power. For Beijing, the digital realm is the next frontier where states compete not just for the markets but for influence, control over data, and strategic advantage. The DSR functions both as a development initiative and as a geopolitical tool, giving China leverage over countries that adopt its systems. China presents the Digital Silk Road as a win-win proposition, affordable technology and infrastructure for developing countries struggling with funding gaps, telecommunication networks, e-commerce platform, cloud services, smart city projects, surveillance systems, and AI tools are packed as a part of this vision. Firms like Huawei, ZTE, and Alibaba are the primary beneficiaries, expanding their market under state financing and diplomatic support. For recipient countries, many facing massive infrastructure shortfalls, the global connectivity gap could reach almost $15 trillion by 2040. Yet, the DSR is not merely economic. Countries that engage with its project often adopt Chinese hardware, standards, and governance models. Over time, these connections create dependencies. Digital backbones, cloud infrastructure, and data systems become linked to Beijing's supply chain, raising questions of sovereignty, privacy, and freedom. The scale of the initiative is significant. At least 16 countries have signed formal agreements, though analysts believe the real number is higher. Africa has become a focal point, with Chinese firms dominating ICT financing and outspending Western institutions. From undersea cables to mobile networks, China's imprint is pervasive. Beyond technology, training programs, research collaborations draw local engineers and policy makers closer to Chinese firms, strengthening influence and dependency. In Malaysia and Indonesia, Chinese technology addresses urgent infrastructural needs, from broadband to cloud computing, while Beijing promotes its model of digital governance. This includes data localization, real-time monitoring, and content control, reflecting domestic Chinese practices. Critics warn that it exports authoritarian architecture. In politically fragile nations, these technologies could be used to monitor opposition, restrict free media, and suppress civil society. Surveillance concerns are also tangible. Chinese tools have been deployed in Ecuador, Zambia, and elsewhere, creating networks of facial recognition, cameras, AI-driven monitoring, and digital censorship platforms. These exports profit Chinese firms while normalizing Beijing's political model abroad. In effect, the DSR lays down the hardware and software of digital authoritarianism in vulnerable regions. The COVID-19 pandemic accelerated these trends. China linked its DSR project to Health Silk Road, providing partner countries with health apps, tracking tools, and surveillance systems modeled on domestic systems. While effective for disease control, these interventions entrenched state monitoring capacities and deepened reliance on Chinese infrastructure. Corruption and financial mismanagement compound the DSR's risk. Recipient states have reported opaque procurement, inflated contracts, and alleged kickbacks. Chinese firms have sometimes bypassed competitive bidding or pressurized governments to approve contracts without oversight. These practices increase debt vulnerability, enrich intermediaries, and undermine governance. Combined with technological dependency, corruption concerns raise doubts about whether DSR truly promotes development. Western democracies have reacted. The US, European Union, Australia, and Japan have restricted Huawei from 5G network over security concerns. They have launched initiatives like EU's Global Gateway and G7's Build Back Better World to counter Chinese financing. Yet these efforts lag behind Beijing's head start, while China having invested an estimated $79 billion in the projects. Strategically, the DSR positions China to shape global standards in 5G, cloud computing, data flows, and AI. These standards may emphasize state control over individual freedom rather than liberal democratic norms. A fragmented internet could emerge, one bloc led by US and its allies, and the other shaped by Beijing, with censorship, content filtering, and government access to data being normalized. Still, it faces challenges. Recipient countries worry about sovereignty, debt, and corruption. India has refused to participate, citing security and data concerns. Even partners like Malaysia have expressed unease over dependency. China's aggressive diplomacy has sometimes eroded trust, complicating efforts to frame the DSR as mutually beneficial. China is not the only exporter of controversial technology. US firms have sold surveillance tools abroad. What differentiates is the scale and the centralization. Chinese tech companies are closely tied to state and must comply with government directives, including data sharing. This integration of corporate and state interests heightens geopolitical stakes, making DSR engagement a strategic decision for partner countries. Looking ahead, the DSR would likely expand throughout the 2020s. Beijing continues to promote it at events like the World Internet Conference and the Belt and Road Initiative forums. It is no longer a complementary project, it is a pillar of China's foreign policy. At the same time, Western pushbacks and concerns from developing states will intensify, creating a polarized global digital order. The promise and the peril of digital Silk Road initiatives are intertwined. On one hand, it addresses urgent infrastructure gaps and connects millions to digital economy. On the other hand, it risks exporting digital authoritarianism, locking countries into Chinese standards, deepening debt, and corruption vulnerabilities. Ultimately, it is more than technology. It is about power, values, and the future of global governance. As China wires the world, the critical question is whether the digital connections will promote freedom and development or entrench surveillance, corruption, and control. The answer will shape how nations communicate, govern, and compete in defining the technological contest of the 21st century. This is all from me today. This is Nidhi for the Asian Chronicle.